All right, we're about to jump into a story that's just wild. It's about incredible skill, a really profound injustice, and a victory that was literally erased from the history books for over 70 years. This is the story of the real first Top Guns.
So, it all starts with this gentleman. He's 99-year-old Lieutenant Colonel James Harvey, and he's at Nellis Air Force Base. But you gotta look real close at his cap. See what it says? It makes this absolutely staggering claim. First Top Gun winner, 1949. Now think about that. This is decades before the movie, right? Way before the Navy program was even a household name. He was there for the U.S. Air Force's very first weapons meet, and he's saying, yeah, my team won.
But, and this is the whole mystery, here's the catch. 73, that's how many years? 73 years it took for the Air Force to officially say, yep, they won. So what on earth happened, and who were these pilots?
To get that, we've got to go back. Let's meet the men at the very heart of this story, James Harvey and Harry Stewart. They came from totally different worlds, but they were brought together by the exact same dream.
And you can see here, they had two very different paths leading to the exact same destination. You've got James Harvey, whose whole world changed when he saw 4 P-40s fly in perfect formation. And then there's Harry Stewart, who grew up right next to an airport, building model planes and just dreaming of getting into a real cockpit. Both of them were just completely captivated by flight. But their journey was going to be defined by the color of their skin.
You see, the dream of flying, that's universal. But the reality of America in the 1940s was just brutal segregation. When Harry Stewart was a young recruit, he was traveling south for his training, and he was separated from his white friends on a train. When he tried to go to the dining car, this is what he said happened. They literally walled him off behind a green curtain.
I mean, can you even imagine that? The mix of disgust and humiliation he must have felt? But despite all of that, his focus was just unbreakable. In his own words, he said, "I had my eye on the prize to become a pilot." And that incredible resolve, that's a theme we're going to see over and over again.
And man, was that resolve going to be tested. Their training ground was the Tuskegee Institute in Alabama. And you have to understand, this program was seen by a lot of people in power as an experiment. And frankly, it was one they fully expected, and in some cases even wanted, to fail. So the Tuskegee cadets, they knew they were under a microscope. It wasn't a level playing field. While their white counterparts just had to prove they could land a plane safely, the bar for them was set infinitely higher. As Lieutenant Colonel Harvey puts it, perfection wasn't some lofty goal. For them, it was the absolute bare minimum. No exceptions.
And this number, wow. This number shows you just how high that bar really was. Only 40%. Just 4 out of every 10 cadets who started training at Tuskegee actually graduated. It was this grueling, unforgiving program that was designed to wash people out. But the ones who made it through, well, they ended up being some of the most skilled, most disciplined pilots in the entire world.
Okay, so that brings us to the main event. It's May 1949. The U.S. Air Force decides it's going to hold its first ever Top Gun competition out at Las Vegas Air Force Base to find the best of the best. And guess who gets sent to compete? The top 3 pilots from the 332nd Fighter Group, the Tuskegee Airmen.
But when they get there, the deck is just completely stacked against them. I mean, first off, they're the only black pilots there. The event officials basically give them the cold shoulder. The other pilots just kind of write them off, saying they're no kind of competition. And then to top it all off, their own commanding officer gives them this insane ultimatum as they're leaving. If you don't win, don't come back. No pressure, right?
But they weren't fazed. They had a strategy, especially for this one key event called skip bombing. And even today, at nearly 100 years old, James Harvey is still playfully secretive about how they did it. He knew they had an ace up their sleeve. And what was that secret? It was just pure, raw, unadulterated skill. Just look at this. In this super high-stakes skip bombing event, their captain, Alva Temple, he hit 6 out of 6 targets, perfect. Then Harry Stewart steps up, gets a perfect 6 for 6. Now all the pressure is on James Harvey, and he nails all 6 of his targets too. A perfect team score, absolutely flawless. That perfect score just catapulted their team into this commanding lead. So when all the points were finally tallied up, it wasn't even close. The Tuskegee Airmen won the entire propeller plane division. They were the first Top Guns.
Now this should have been a moment of just unbelievable triumph, right? A vindication of everything they had worked for, everything they'd endured. But instead,
It became a victory that was systematically and intentionally buried.
The awards ceremony was weird. It felt rushed. The team was quickly photographed for the trophy, but like in a messy hotel room, and then they were pretty much ushered out. As Lieutenant Colonel Harvey tells it, the feeling in the air was just crystal clear. The wrong group won the meet. It was so obvious the organizers never, ever planned for this outcome.
So how do you just erase a victory like this? Well, it starts with the official record, the 1949 Air Force Almanac.
In that official record, the winner of the first ever Top Gun competition was listed as
Just that, a single dismissive word. Their historic achievement, their perfect scores, their decisive win, all of it, just gone. The trophy got shipped off to a warehouse, and their victory was, for all intents and purposes, officially forgotten.
But the story doesn't end there. Not even close. Because truth, it has a way of eventually coming to light, even if it takes a lifetime.
And this timeline, man, it really shows you just how long and winding that road to recognition was. For 55 years, the story was just lost to history. Then, in 2004, a historian who was researching the Tuskegee Airmen just happens to stumble upon it. But even then, it still takes another 18 years of lobbying before finally, in January of 2022, the Air Force installs a permanent plaque at Nellis, officially recognizing the 332nd Fighter Group as the winners.
And for James Harvey, the man who wore that cap with pride for years, what did that final moment of recognition feel like? Well, in his own words, it felt good. Finally, 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 yes. You can just hear the weight of 73 years in that simple, powerful statement. This story is it's an incredible testament to perseverance. I mean, they proved everyone wrong, not just with their unbelievable skill in the air, but with their decades-long fight for the truth right here on the ground. And it really leaves us with a crucial question to think about. How many other stories just like this one, how many other victories are still out there, just waiting to be brought into the light?